Hey everyone, Jim T. Graham with FlyingGiants.com. We're also broadcasting today with RCGroups.com, but we wanted to get giant scale on this one, so we are talking to our special guests, Tim and Heather from Redwing. What's going on, guys?
Oh, nothing much. Working hard and just having fun.
And we also have Mr. Matt Gunn.
Howdy, how we doing?
You might know Matt from Flying Giants and RC Groups. Matt, if we get a giant scale plane that's pretty awesome, Matt's usually the guy that gets it, although we've been working with Nikolai lately. Matt, maybe we talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah. We got to make sure we pronounce his name right. Zinsli, Nikolai Zinsli. I keep wanting to call him Zelensky.
Yeah,
Anywho.
Me too.
Now, is he
So we're all on the same page with that.
from a foreign country, or is he like Southern?
Oh, God, you had to ask me. He hails from Michigan, doesn't he?
I think so. Somewhere,
Not
not
sure.
too far away.
I don't think that's his last name origins, though. I don't think that's a Michigan
Right.
surname or anything. I think that comes from somewhere else.
I know you got to say somewhere else. You can't try to call the ball because if you do, you're gonna offend somebody, right?
Yeah, he actually just picked up one of our 30cc Yak 54s. I think he's planning on doing a build thread on Flying Giants on it. I don't know if he started that yet or not, but
he's in the middle of moving, and he wants to do that, but he's buying a house. So we need to get Nikolai on here at some point. We'll do that soon. All right.
So speaking of that, this is our very first video interview, let's call it. And so we are broadcasting live. That means that we could have viewers show up and ask some questions. But really what's going to happen here is we're going to talk to Tim and Heather and get some good information, and then this video will live over on the Flying Giants and RC Group's YouTube channels. And that means you can watch it anytime you want. We will have other interviews in the future. Tim and I were talking about once we really get this kicked off, we can warn everyone over on FG and say, hey, we're going live today at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and then you could jump in and hang out with us. And so, Tim, we're going to bring you back for that when we get that all hot and smoking.
That'd be awesome. I enjoy being the guinea pig. It's, a little bit of pressure, gets the adrenaline going a little bit, but it's fun. So, yeah, call me back when you're ready to give that a try.
And so let's jump on in and talk about what's new over at Redwing, what's going on. One of the reasons I initially contacted you was because of your servo line, and then you started talking, and I said, stop talking, let's do an interview on YouTube.
Yeah, you had asked about the Power HD brushless servos, and we briefly, kind of said that they're an awesome brushless servo at the price they are. They compete with some of the top ones. I think that for $200 versus $100, you're getting really good value. I don't think they're going to outcompete the $200 brushless servos, but that's what we kind of started talking about. And yeah, I think the Storm brushless servos are really good. But I started telling you about some of our plans, our future plans, and the direction we're going. And yeah, I thought it would be a good opportunity. I was actually thinking about making a video and talking to our customers about kind of the vision that we've been talking about.
What we have planned for the future, and what direction we're heading, and how that involves customers and what they expect from us, and how we want to keep reaching, striding farther and farther to make it all happen.
And we've got a lot of exciting things going on. There's 3 or 4 that pop out in my mind that I'll probably just kind of cover briefly here and do just a light intro to this whole format for you guys. I don't want to bog it down, but I definitely think we have some pretty hot topics to discuss. So, do you want me to just jump in with?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Well, I would say probably one of the most exciting things. I think it's kind of between the 100cc's that we're working on and a 30cc. We have a new 30cc design that we're working on.
I think that's more exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what the direction we're going is that when we started, we had really good planes that were a really good value. They weren't necessarily top line, but they were real close, and the price was awesome. So you get an incredible value, and that was our customer base. As we've grown, we have more and more people buying from us and expecting the little details to be there. And so that's where, we're going to break into having an elite line and a basic line, because we don't want to, exclude our customers that are more value-minded and more budget-based.
Right, budget conscious. I agree, and that, some guys don't care for all the extra frills and stuff. They want something that looks cool and is going to fly well, and they don't mind.
Well.
Yeah, and they don't mind having to do a little extra here and there, just because.
Yeah, and not even really. I don't think it's even extra. It's more that the direction we're going with the Elite is that there's going to be more R&D behind them, and that's where this is kind of leading to. Is that we've been working for about a year or two with an aeronautical engineer. His name's Adam Strong. You guys might know him. Some other people out there might know him. If you don't, you're going to pretty soon here, because we have we've worked on projects together, and then this is the 30cc Edge that we're going to be coming out with here soon. That's what we'll be unveiling soon, and I'll post a link to some prototype videos and photos. I don't have it here with me. Adam actually has the prototypes, but the really cool thing is he was able to design a 30cc airframe that is as good or better than anything else in the market, and do it in pretty much one shot with just minor revisions, some tweaking to the airframe. And to be honest, when I started designing, tweaking, it would take me 3-4 prototypes to get it right, and it still probably isn't as expert as obviously an aeronautical engineer can do. Now, that being said, one of the concerns that we had is an aeronautical engineer doesn't necessarily mean you can design a great RC plane, but this test that we did proves that he's really good at both. So it's the flight characteristics are super impressive. The build quality, we've been working with our factory and another factory to improve every aspect of the hinges lining up better, the paint being higher quality and matching better and things like that. So just again, like you mentioned, the bells and whistles being there for the more particular guys who are willing to pay a little bit more to get the premium. I think you've got two type of customers. One that wants a really good looking plane that flies good, that's not going to break in the air, but they're not going to see that 10% difference between its flight characteristics and one that's got a little bit more R&D behind it. And then you got another guy who's willing to pay a 20% premium on a plane to get the one that feels the best in the air, assembles everything about it just being cream of the crop. So.
Yeah. So what are we looking at? Like multiple color schemes. Tell us a little bit about the bird.
So the 30cc Edge, right now we got two schemes developed. Well, one scheme in two colors. I think we're just going to go with red and yellow, and I'll post some pictures of it. We'll post some links and stuff. I guess you guys are probably going to have some photos underneath the link that you post on your site here, or we'll be able to post some links or something to the photos, I'm sure, right?
What Tim's talking about is when we finish this video that you're obviously watching right now, it will live in a feature on flyinggiants.com, and in that feature we'll throw some photos up of everything we're talking about. And Tim, I'll rely on you to send those to me.
Sure, I absolutely will. As soon as I get done here, we'll kind of sort those and see what we want to send. We want to kind of just do a little bit, it's a teaser right now.
Sneak preview.
Yeah. But so far, it's been really awesome working with Adam on this, because he's actually developed the schemes. He's got a good eye for design. He's going to be working with every aspect of it, from basically our Elite planes. The differentials are going to be between the Elite and the Basic is more or less at the Basic. While the Elite is going to have more R&D behind it. We're going to have ore cover. They're going to be more precise. Every aspect of manufacturing is going to be more precise. The plane is going to tend to have more carbon fiber and features like that in it, and it's going to be fully supported. Obviously, our planes are fully supported, but it's going to be a little more refined in that we're going to stock a higher number of parts. Now, that obviously leads to potential loss for us, and that's why in the past we've had to balance that. We always get parts to people, but with these we want to have parts available pretty much all the time. Obviously, there's going to be times where supply and demand, we're not able to predict how many canopies guys break in a given year. But for the most part, we want to be like overstocked on the parts, and the manuals are going to be fully English, American manuals, not Chinglish.
Right.
And we've already got that on some of our basic planes, but those are going to be like all the premium things from start to finish that are going to separate the Elite from the Basic.
Awesome.
Basically, making it a little easier from start to finish.
Yeah, more refined.
And when will we all be able to start looking for all the birds to show up on the site?
So we'll start first with this 30cc Edge, and we've got a couple planes that are already in that class because we've been working with him and on the planes in general that we feel are in the elite class. So we're going to go ahead and separate them, and we're going to start having a price. You know, the price is going to be distinguished pretty soon. You'll see kind of more of a separation. And what the Edge, we're waiting on China to kind of get in full swing from its holiday here. They've been gone for about a month or so.
Yeah.
They're back.
That's always a lot of fun for us.
That's rough.
I bet that slow boat from China is extra slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they take basically a lot of customers don't know this. I didn't know this when I got into the business. They're gone. They are gone for a month. Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you reach them, but the workers are gone for probably a month and a half in the Chinese New Year. And another big problem is a lot of these factories, it's very regional work. So how do I describe it? Basically, they may have workers 1 year, and then they leave, they go back to their families, they kind of celebrate the holiday, and then they hear that there's more work in this region. So you may have factories that are having trouble once they get going again. They're gone for a month and a half, and then they have trouble keeping up with supply because they don't have, it's migratory work a lot of times. So
this even happens with the big companies. So I'm dealing with advertisers, and they're gone too. They literally turn off their ads and leave.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say which company it is. It's a big quadcopter company, but their marketing people never come back.
Yeah.
So they learn how the site works, what the banner ads do, what they're spending. And this week, I spent the whole week explaining why they have ads, where they're at, what the website is. So it's a completely fresh batch of people.
Yeah. So you have to ground everybody.
Yeah, retrain. Start from zero.
That's annoying.
That's crazy.
But their names are always Lily, isn't that weird?
Yeah, like veins and.
I'm treading into uncharted territory here.
And Matt, let's talk about your bird that you have sitting behind you there.
The MXS Bach. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Okay, so I'll be honest. I am a fan of the red and white version that's available. And I got the gold and black, and I was like, okay, gold and black, we'll see how it works. And it grew on me big time. And a lot of people really like the color of this plane. There it is right there for you.
It's like a 57 Chevy to me.
It is, man. It looks incredible. And it really is the best of both aircraft. And you can see the design elements of the MXSR and the S-Bach in both, and so I really enjoy this plane a lot. Now the only problem I'm having right now is getting some weather to fly. So you know, we're in Cleveland, and we were lucky for a while. It held out, you know, had great weather for a long time, and then all of a sudden the bottom dropped out, and you got that really ugly Arctic air that came in. So it's I think it was 8 degrees this morning, and now it's 28, and the fields are all covered. There's just no flying. So I'm trying to get together with my pilot who flies all the planes during the review, so I can concentrate on photos and video and stuff like that, and put together the great review for you guys. But I'm just begging for a snow melt, and then once the snow melts, then you got to wait for the field to dry out for a month. You guys know the routine. So.
We're supposed to hit like 60, 70 degrees this weekend here in St. Louis.
I hate you.
What are you guys? You guys aren't getting that warm up at all?
No, I think we're supposed to be in the upper 30s, low 40s is what we'll get. But that'll just be enough to melt off the 6 inches of snow outside.
Oh, yeah. We're up to 51 right now, and we're going to be at 70 tomorrow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Same here.
Tim and I were eating steaks in Nashville last summer, and Tim gave me the secret to muscle growth, and I actually utilize it. And so what I do is I run through the neighborhood and then go lift weights. But the weather has kept me off the road, so I'm about to reinitialize. But by Toledo, I think I will have arms as big as yours, Tim.
All right, that's awesome, man.
I thought we were talking about muscles, like the ones that you eat.
Well, we were eating steak. No, no. I would never eat a mussel.
Farm your own mussels, and here's some muscle growth.
I'm going to give you Tim's secret recipe to large mussels. It's this simple.
Yeah, yeah.
8. You do 8 reps. Is it 4 times?
I think that's what I kind of told you to get you started, because I do 5x5s is a program I do. But I think to get started, 8 reps, just staying in a lower rep range to build size and strength generally. I found for me, for thinner frames, because I mean I was 180 pounds 5 years ago,
right?
About 220 now. I mean I was very thin, and my body just didn't put on size until I started doing really low reps. But it's kind of hard to go from, you know, I think naturally thinner bodies can do 12, 15 reps easier. So jumping straight to 5 or 3 reps is kind of like you don't feel the intensity, you don't feel the impact until you kind of retrain those slow twitch muscle fibers. So you have to start activating them. So that's why for you, yeah, I said maybe do sets of 8 and maybe 4 sets.
Of 8. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone that's listening, I expect you all to be muscled up by Toledo. So let's talk about Toledo next. But Heather, I have a question about your shirt.
Oh, okay.
Who comes up with these kick-ass shirts?
I'm pretty sure that Tim designed this one.
Yeah.
And we have this one, and we have the G.I. Joe one. Those are from, gosh.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, at least 2 years ago.
Yeah. We had another one, too, that we did like that, didn't we? Or maybe
no,
we had several ideas.
We had a few ideas. We didn't actually get all of them done. But.
Yeah, the problem we ran into is I really was having fun kind of like using these old logos or things like that to kind of integrate our design into and have a little fun with it. But we get a much better price if we do 500 shirts or 300 shirts.
Sure.
We can't afford to do that on 10 different styles of T-shirts. So we kind of went back for a little bit here just to going with one main T-shirt, ordering a bunch. But I think we'll try and integrate some of these fun ones again. There's plenty of, you know, funny creative ideas you can do with kind of meshing old logo. I'm sure you guys probably could think of a few we could use.
I just designed a shirt and had one printed up. I just went to Mexico and I wanted to have a special shirt to wear. So when I was a kid, my dad would take me to the carnival, and the bumper cars were my favorite ride. And the carny running the bumper cars one year when I was 11 had on a black shirt and in white letters that just said "Hot Damn." And I remember thinking, A, where did this guy buy the "Hot Damn" shirt? And B, is that legal to wear? So I went and made my own "Hot Damn" shirt this year. And if I'm going out, I'm wearing the "Hot Damn."
There you go.
Okay, so let's talk about Toledo, man.
Making some workout shirts for me actually, because I get yelled at all the time in the gym. Like,
are you for grunting or something?
Exactly. So it's not all the time. It's like if you go to my Facebook page, like my personal page, I didn't put it on Redwing pages, but if you look up just Tim Pastor on Facebook, I know a lot of pilots out there are friends with me. I put a video up, and it was 500-pound deadlift, 5 reps, and I did that five sets, but I only put one set on Facebook. So once every 3 weeks, I do a really heavy, like close to my max weight, and do 5 reps with it, and then once every 5 weeks, I also do my 1 rep max test. And so on those days, man, I mean, you do deadlifts or squats, butt to the grass. There's another way people say it, but I'll try not to cuss on here, but it rhymes with grass. So butt to the grass, 500-pound squat, you're going to make a little bit of noise. And so almost every time, though, they come up and they're like, hey, like the treadmills are kind of upset.
The treadmills.
And so I've thought of making shirts that say, yeah, I grunt when I lift or something, or, get over it. Or so, yeah, I'm trying to think of like a slogan I can make that says, I grunt when I lift and I'm proud, or something like that.
If you're not grunting, you're not gaining.
There you go.
It's funny, don't they have a whole franchise of gyms that's dedicated to keeping you out?
Yes, Planet Fitness. And I'm at Gold's Gym. I thought Gold's Gym, originated or kind of grown by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought they'd be okay with, a little bit of noise and whatnot. Maybe I can't say those company names on here. I don't know.
Who cares?
But yeah, if the bar ain't bending, you're just pretending, right?
There you go, Brotato Chip.
So Toledo's coming. Are you? Would think you're going to Joe Knoll.
Yeah, we're planning on going to Joe Knoll. We're trying to plan out our year this year. One of our intents is to visit a few states and locations that we haven't really been to, that we haven't seen a lot of customers from that region, and so we want to kind of meet some new people, show them our products. So we're going to really, our main focus is going to be hitting some regions like Oklahoma, Tennessee, Kentucky, because they're close by and they're much lighter than some other regions we have. We got good customer base in Texas and Northern Illinois, Florida, New York. But for some reason, there's some places here and there that I think we want to kind of visit some people and just show them what we're all about.
Yeah.
So as far as the year, we're not totally planned out yet, but you know, Toledo we are planning on, but we're trying to make final decision on that. And then Joe Knoll, of course, won't be long after that. XFC, assuming that does happen, we're planning on being there with a couple team pilots that will be competing with our planes.
Cool.
And yeah, so we're going to have a busy year, and we're trying to figure out what we want to focus on. So it's taxing to go to all, as you guys know, to go to all these events, and it's, you know, you're on the clock nonstop except when you're sleeping, and that can be pretty exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
It's like working 2 weeks in a weekend is what it feels like, or in 5 days. You know, it feels like you did 2 weeks worth of work. So it's pretty much, you gotta
plan it out, and you gotta, and for us too, you know, we have 3 kids, so
yeah,
it's tricky.
And then
taking care of them.
Shipping fulfillment and keeping everything rolling on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's a nice thing, is that we have a staff of about 6 right now, and we've got Caitlin and Heather, kind of the warehouse managers. And then Adam does our design stuff, email blasts and things like that. We have Taylor doing the shipping and receiving, Craig doing customer service. So all that gets done without us. Now there's definitely things that we advise on and help. They definitely need us, but for 5 days a week they'll be okay without us. But yeah,
this isn't much longer than that. I think we definitely need to step in, but for the most part, they're really capable, and it's nice because it's like our own little family of you know, work associates. They know what we're going for. They know that our customers are important to us, and they know that, you know, we trust them, and they can be our eyes and ears when we're not around. So
yeah, they're really capable. We've worked really hard to find people that we can trust and feel like their heart is in it, that they care about the company as much as us, and that if we relay our philosophies to them, we relay our strategies and systems for handling certain things with customers, that they're going to make sure that happens even when we're not around. And that's why, I mean, we have a really good customer service percentage or survey. You know, when we did that survey, I think we were like in the 90 and 95 satisfied rate, which I think is
Wow.
pretty good. I think, yeah. So, you know, we did like 1 through 5, and pretty much everything, 90% of it or more was, I think it was like 92%, 94% was in the good to great average, you know, and then we had 5-7% that was in the not satisfied or whatever, which you're always going to have. We want to try and make that smaller and smaller, but looking at other companies, that seems like that's a really good satisfaction percentage. You know, when I did some research on that, but one of the other exciting things regarding that is we're starting a new shopping cart.
Wait, before you go there,
Yeah.
I want to say to everyone that's out there listening live right now, if you have any questions about Redwing, there's a Q&A button in the upper right-hand corner, right up here. Click that thing, and you can type in your question, and then I'll see it, and I'll be happy to ask it of Tim and Heather. Okay, so
That's cool.
The shopping cart?
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to tell them about?
It's really exciting because the software for the shopping cart is integrated with our inventory software, so everything will be, well,
Wow.
you'll have to give us a little bit of lag time to get everything straight.
Right.
But
once we're up and going.
But once we're up and going, everything will be live. So, you know, when you go to buy your 110 millimeter push rods and they aren't in stock, then it'll say out of stock, and you won't have a question.
Yeah.
So everything will be clear, and we're really excited about that because, we know sometimes guys are trying to get stuff in so that they can get it on the plane, so they can get the plane up in the air that weekend, and, there's a delay, and then they get frustrated, and it's understandable,
Yeah.
and this will avoid all of that, and I think that's going to be a huge benefit to us and our customers.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm a consumer too. When I buy something and then I get an email saying, hey, that's actually back ordered, well, then when it comes in, I get frustrated too. I totally get it, and we're not doing it on purpose. I think some people think, oh, they've got my money, they're going to hold my money, and what are they doing with it? And that's not it at all. It's just that what happened with our old cart when we did packages, we couldn't set them up as inventory items, and so there was no way to accurately track inventory all the time, unfortunately. But with this new cart, everything on the site, whether it's a package or an option, will be associated with an inventory item if need be. So therefore, and we can sync it just with a press of a button. So I think that's going to really help customer frustration, customer satisfaction a lot. So I'm expecting that 5 to 7% to go to 2 to 4 real quick. So because most of our complaints are stuff like that. They're just like things that were out of our control because we just didn't have the resources and the architecture or whatever to make that happen. And now that we've grown, we can invest the thousands of dollars that we need to make that happen, and so we are.
Right on, right on. So I got a question. You were talking about earlier some of your sponsored pilots. Tell us a little bit. I know you guys just picked up Tim Kunath. So how's he doing?
He's doing awesome. Right now, they had the same problem as you. A lot of snow, a lot of cold.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're getting on a building streak now. They picked up a bunch of our planes all at once. They seem really excited to be a part of the team. And I met Tim and Tom, his dad, up at XFC. He was in the last chance qualifiers, I believe, and made it into XFC his first year up there. And his flight, I thought was really, really exciting. And being his first year, I think he's going to be a lot more refined this year. He kind of knows now what to expect, what they're expecting to see. There's no doubt he's an amazing pilot. He's an awesome kid. His dad's great, and they seem fully invested in helping support us, and in turn us, supporting them. But they picked up the 50cc Extra V3, which that's one of our newer planes that is flying out the door. We're working a new batch on making a new batch on that one right now because we've got a handful. We don't have any of like the yellow left, I think, and then we're got a handful of other colors. And that plane has been really successful because of the things we learned on the first version. We've changed, and we just nailed it this time, and guys are seeing that. So I expect once the warm weather hits and guys get more of these in the air, because we got these in November, right when the cold weather hit in most regions. And so what little we have, I don't expect to last before we get, unfortunately, our next container in. But they picked that one up, which is a great performing all-around plane. I mean, it's one of the best planes at doing everything great that I've seen. I honestly think it's like the best in the 50cc class. That's my genuine, not Redwing bias opinion. When I see it and I feel it and I see it in other people's hands and see their reactions, it seems like it's just an all-around winner. He picked up the 100cc Slick, which is a prototype that we're working on. We got about 4 of those out there to our team pilots and myself, and we are working on a new wing design for that and stab design that we want to test. And then we think that's going to pretty much nail it. And then we have, what else did they pick up? One of the foamies, the wood foam hybrids. I think it was the Yak? I can't remember.
I think they got the MXS box.
It might, or MXR. Well, it's an MXS technically. Oh. But yeah, the green and white MXS 48-inch on our. Those are the future models. Those are cool little planes. They're really affordable. We're not the first batch that we got in. We took their designs and sold them because we tested them and they fly really well. We do have a new one coming in that we're working on that's going to be a little bit bigger. Same type of idea where it's wood and EPP foam. And the cool thing about these is it's sort of like the price point and the way they fly in terms of floatiness is a lot like a flat foamy, but they outperform a flat foamy night and day with the same wingspan. And I think it's because the full fuselage really funnels that wind back. They feel like a big plane. They feel like you're flying a 50cc or even a 100cc plane. But you've spent a few $100 getting it up in the air. So.
And what's the wingspan on these that you're?
The ones we have right now are 48-inch.
Uh-huh.
And I let a kid in my field fly in my S-Bach that I have, and he got a little turnaround for a second. He was doing real good, and then he got turned around trying to hover it in some stiff wind, and he got nervous and just like shut down the throttle, and it bounced literally from about my head height, like 6 feet, right on the landing gear. It bounced up probably a foot, and I went over, nothing wrong with it. And I think this EPP, it just really absorbs a lot. Another buddy of mine, he was doing a low knife edge, caught the wingtip, and cartwheeled it a few times, and there was minimal damage. There was a little bit like where the wings had kind of pushed in a little bit. There was some cracking, but an all balsa plane that hit like that one hit, I would have expected to be pretty much wiped out. So it's pretty neat for the price point, the durability, the way they fly. We're really excited about them. I think we're gonna put some more energy into creating our own designs and improving the designs a little bit as well, with Adam Strong helping us out on that.
You sell the power systems and everything to go with it?
We are working on that actually. One of the things I've learned over the years, I don't want to rush anything to market anymore, and so I'm trying to figure out what the best fit is for those, the best fit for us. So we've got a couple options, and a lot of it is we've got a lot on our plate as far as getting the cart up and going, and it takes a lot of time to, if we put a product on the site, we want good pictures, we want good information, maybe do a video explaining some things, how to program the SCs maybe, or and then just getting on the cart, having our web guy create the coding, make sure all the specifications, pricing, all the details on the website are accurate. It's an undertaking, and then putting it in inventory, finding a spot for it.
Location on the shelf is tricky sometimes because we have a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's growing
like Walmart.
It feels like it sometimes, but then I walk in Walmart. It's funny. You don't look at stuff like that when you don't own a business. But I'll walk in a store and I will get like this sick feeling in my stomach thinking of being responsible for all of that. Because I now see how much we have, and it's a handful. And I'll walk in and be like, oh my God, I would not want to manage this. But that's where we kind of keep growing and growing and growing. But you get more comfortable. You find, I started this business. We started it. I mean, I really kind of, I guess.
It was really you.
Yeah, at the beginning, it was my little project to see what would happen, and started with a handful of money of my own personal money, and a shelf and a few items.
Literally a shelf.
Yeah. Now we're probably about on to like 12 to 20 of these same, what do you call it, pallet shelves or whatever.
Right.
So, and everything they do was a piece of me, but it's now grown in volume and it's grown in complexity or refinement. But it's pretty neat to see like that I did every aspect every aspect in the beginning, and I think of that and it's like I'm not even sure how it started. I mean, you work hard, and it starts growing, and you run into a problem, and you sit back and you think about the problem and try and find the best solution, and you run into another problem. It's just a series of problems and solutions is really what it comes down to. But it's
yeah, I can remember being taught how to package a red deal because
how to glue stuff in.
Yeah,
so
I had no idea.
Break the plane.
Yeah. And Tim had to teach me all that stuff, and then I had to teach somebody else, and then she taught someone else. So it's kind of been fun to think about it in that regard sometimes, because it's clear how far we've come from those original days.
And it's really neat to see it. It's almost like an organism. When you find the right people, you find the other healthy parts of that organism, and it just kind of takes care of itself or grow. I mean, you got to keep nurturing it and feeding it, but it's pretty neat to see how it does. The knowledge gets passed from one person to another, and they start thinking of things that are a little better than the way I was doing it. Sometimes they start doing some things that I'm like, why are you doing that? But for the most part, they come up with new ideas. I was like, oh, that's cool. I wasn't even here for that amendment. So.
Right. So we have a user with a question, and I have a question. My question is, what did you do before you had Redwing? And the user question is, where did a Redwing get its name?
So I started, before I did Redwing, I was a photographer for about 10 years. I have a few jobs I take still for special clients, but For about 10 years, I was
Mostly a
self-employed.
Maxim photographer.
What's that?
I heard it was with Maxim that you shot for.
Oh yeah, no. No, Heather wouldn't have been very happy about that. No, just portraiture and commercial. Like usually portraiture-related work, both for individuals and corporate commercial stuff, but mainly portraiture-based photography. And I did that pretty much out of college. We had Madeline, our first daughter, on the way, and I had an arts background. My dad was an artist. He was a teacher, and that's kind of what I got into. I've always been kind of a tinker, on my own schedule kind of guy. And so when that happened, I was like, well, how do I make money? I could do graphic. I can go try and get a job doing graphic design, or I could try and do this photography thing. I was just telling the story last night, actually, to my sister. I picked up a book, and it was, how to make $40,000 a year in photography. And I'm reading through it, I'm like, holy crap, I could make $40,000 a year doing photography? That's awesome. I was 22 years old. And
24.
Whatever, 23, 24. I was young. And I was 23 at the most. Anyway, doesn't matter. And we both were like, I remember her saying, like, well, do you think you can really make that?
Yeah, well, I was skeptical. I'm like, oh, sure, there's a book that you can make that much money.
And I see a lot of people who think about starting their own business, and that's the first thing, the fear and the question, the doubt, and everybody has that. But you just kind of keep working at it. And photography was really good to me for a long time, but I saw a change in the industry, so I started thinking about what else I could do. And in some ways, I kind of regret doing another passion business, because I didn't realize the problem with a passion business is that you're often competing with people who aren't concerned about making a profit. Like the parallel I give is because when I started doing photography, I started seeing more and more competition that didn't need to make money. It was they do photography because it's their passion. I love it. It's my passion. It's like, okay, well, great. I need to make money at it. So you're doing these jobs at not enough money, and it was growing. That sector was growing. So what I say now is, what I realize now is that nobody starts like a porta potty business because it's their passion. So that's maybe a little bit of a kind of a stretch, but that. With RC, it's kind of the same thing. You got a lot of guys in the hobby that might start a business and do it on the side to take a little bit of a deduction, or so you have that same issue. But I think there's a lot more potential with it than there was with photography at the time. Now the user question was why
Redwing got its name.
So really it comes down to the fact that pretty much every plane that I built was red. I was kind of known as the Redwing guy already. When I started flying, I got into the hobby, and every plane that I bought or built just about was red. And I didn't realize, it's funny because my buddy, a good friend of mine, that we became friends, and I guess at some point color came up, and he's like, so is your favorite color red? And I was like, I don't really have a favorite color. And eventually he's like, after several times this conversation coming up, he's like, yeah, red is your favorite color. And I'm like, I guess it is. I don't know. I'm not a guy that can pick my favorites, but it's pretty obvious that like most things gravitate towards red for me. It's also a very, I think, memorable color, so I thought it was a natural, having a Redwing. I think that's easy for people to remember the name, and so it just kind of fit me, and it fit the business, I think, and that's the origins of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I wonder where your company would be if it was named Yellowwing.
Yeah, that doesn't ring quite as much, does it?
I think there was a company named Yellowwing.
Really?
Yeah.
Might be. I don't know.
There was. That's the reason why.
Yeah, there was something I was thinking of in that regard, and I lost it. I totally lost it. Yeah, that's the beauty of the live feed.
Well,
you look at me like I can tell you what it was.
Yeah, sometimes you can.
Before we wrap it up, is there anything, like when I interview someone like Kike Somanzini, I always like to say, if there's one thing you could tell a new pilot, what would it be? Is there anything that you would throw out there to new pilots?
One of the main things that I tell people all the time with these gas planes in particular, because that's mainly what we deal with, is first of all, don't rush to get to the field. That's the biggest mistake I always made and still sometimes make, is I get close to being done and I think I've got 5 hours left in the build, and I can get it done, go fly that day. And really, I got 10 to get it like right. And I force it into 5, and guess what? I get to the field and I don't get to fly at all, or something worse happens. The second thing would be to just assume with a gas plane that you've got 10 to 12 flights in it before you have problem-free flights. You have 10 to 12 flights where you're going to find all the little bugs, the tweaks, the things that come loose, and take it slow. You know, just count down those 10, 12 flights. Once you get past that, you're kind of in the clear, and then you should have a gas plane that, other than minor things here and there that you got to keep an eye on, you should have for a long time and not have any worries. But I think a lot of guys get into it, they get into gas, and they're used to these electrics that they can just plug in and go fly. And there is a little bit of upfront work, but the advantage is you don't have to charge as many batteries. You can go to the field with just your plane and your hand and your gas and flip the prop. You know, something to restrain it, obviously. Don't start without restraining it.
Please don't.
But yeah, you go. I think they're a lot more fun to just go and fly. You can fly over and over and over without worrying about batteries. So I think I love a gas plane. You know, little electrics are fun too to have as on days that you don't have as much time to load up the trailer, load up the truck, or whatever. But yeah, I would say just take it slow, enjoy the process, and learn from it. You know, when you run into those snags, stop and think about it. So next time you build a plane, you're like, you know what, it would have been better if I pulled every control horn, sanded every one, did more assembly line style, or you run into a problem with how to access a screw, and you come up with a clever way, and just kind of ingrain that in your head so that when you go to build your next plane, you don't just struggle with the same problems again. But
I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. It's really true, and it's humbling experience when you go to mate in a gas plane, and then you have bolts that are rattling loose, even though you know you Loctited them, and you're having you know, issues that pop up that only a gas plane would experience. But to me, it's a more sensory experience than it is an electric, because you have the smell, you have the sound, you have the feeling, the raw power of a loud gas engine. You just don't get all the time from electric, and that's what I really like about flying gas.
You can feel it in your chest when you're flying. It's like standing next to a subwoofer or something. You know,
that's the truth.
Right. Everything about it has a different feel to it, and there's nothing wrong with electrics. I think electrics are kind of like can be. I've really been enjoying the little Dynam planes that we have. They're like $150, and I've put together probably 4 or 5 of them just for myself, like the Cub and the Hellcat. One of the Beavers with floats, which I'm hoping to fly this weekend. What's really cool about the GB, it's like meditation flying one of those compared to a gas plane. You're like relaxed and you're in the zone and you're just like trying to fly it smooth and scale. And then you go to gas and it's like adrenaline. You know, that's adrenaline junkie. So it's two different sides, but yeah, there's definitely an aspect to gas that I would never give up gas planes in my lineup for sure.
And I would say, like, I fly very little and mostly on the simulator because I am not that good yet. but as a spectator, the gas planes are so much more fun to watch, and so I think that, you know, the new guys, they want to be that guy. They want to be that entertainment guy.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
they get a little ahead of themselves, and that I always feel bad when I see a young guy or a new guy at the field that's, you know, 6 flights in or whatever, and he's lost his plane, and
or even just struggling with it, and they're like, you know, you can tell they're super frustrated because they just haven't like got the learning curve yet. But it's not that hard once you do. It's just new information you have to assimilate.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So
when I'm at Joe Knoll and I've got my camera, I'm always looking for the smoke. And if you don't have smoke, you're not as cool as the guy who does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Smoke automatically makes your flight better. That's one thing I haven't done myself. I started on a plane and it just, you know, the mess and everything else. I'd love to, but it's a lot more work. That's one thing that I appreciate guys that do it. I think it's awesome, and I would like to. I just don't have the time to set it up and then take care of the plane and wipe it down all the time. I'm just bad about stuff like that. I'm always in a hurry, so.
Well, Matt, we're coming to the end of the show, and I'm sorry that we didn't get to talk about your Porta-John collection, your porta-potty collection. I know it's your passion.
Are you passionate about that, Matt? I'm sorry if I offended you.
We're going to talk about that. Next show, we'll talk about your Porta-John thing.
It's a crappy job, but someone's got to do it.
That it is, I bet.
Tim and Heather, thank you so much for joining us and taking some time out of your day so you can talk to us. And thanks to everyone who's watching this on the internet and all our guests right now. And is there anything you want to say before we get out of here, guys?
No, the only thing we didn't really cover is 100cc's. They're on the way. A lot of people asking about that. And we've hit some snags here and there, and we want them to be perfect. You know, when we come out with a 100cc, we've had a 100cc before, but this will technically be our first flagship 100cc model, and so we want it to be perfect. So we're going to take time it needs. We're hoping that it's still going to be sometime mid this year. The Edge 2, I think we never got to that really, but when they come back from holiday, we're hoping that we can have the container with the edges in it, restock the 50cc extras and restock the 20cc edges, those profiles that are really, really popular. So that's going to be our main focus on this container, and that we're hoping that we can still get that in around like April. But we're waiting on them to see how long the production is going to take and start planning that. So.
If I come in early in Toledo to your booth, are you going to have something cool that I can see and share with everyone?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got some stuff that's prototypes and things like that I'll have out. That I'll have the 100cc slick, and possibly one of the 30cc edges. I'd like to get one of those drop shipped as soon as they start producing them, and have that to be able to start showing off. So I'm hoping to have those two things. And of course, anything else new that we release in the meantime. So.
Cool. Well, everyone, we've been talking to Tim and Heather from Redwing RC. If you want to immediately leave this video and go check them out, you can go to redwingrc.com and see some of the stuff we've been talking about, and check back later for the rest of the stuff that's going to show up later in the year. Thanks, everyone, for taking time. I'm Jim T. Graham with Flying Giants and RCGroups.com. We have Matt Gunn with Flying Giants and RCGroups.com, and Tim and Heather from Redwing. And that is it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.